Hi friends, today I will tell you a lovely story of goodness. It is also a story related to my mom, and today is her birthday. So I felt it is relevant to recap a lovely story in which we as a family were a part of, and my mother was the chief protagonist. To be precise, it was an incident and not a story. An incident in which we never were scripted to be intentional parts. In fact, we were accidentally involved in that incident, and it later turned out to be one of the fondest memories of our life. When we think about it, we feel as if we were characters of a feel-good story. This happened when I was in my 7th grade. My brother was 2 years younger to me. We were returning home by KSRTC bus from Bangalore to Ballari. We had been to Bangalore for a function in our uncle's home. For some reason, we had to travel back during the day to reach our hometown Ballari. It was a 300 kilometers journey. We did not have good luxurious buses at that time as we have today. And it was peak summer. Obviously, it was supposed to be a tedious journey. We were relieved around 8:30 p.m. because we knew we would reach Ballari in another half an hour. Suddenly, we found some disturbance in our back row. A stranger and his wife were curiously searching the luggage cabin for their luggage. Later we learned that the stranger's name was Mahesh. Their 3-year boy was curiously watching them. Mr. Mahesh told the conductor of the bus that their luggage, a red-colored suitcase, was missing. In fact, the luggage was exchanged because there was yet another red-colored suitcase in the cabin which did not belong to them. On inquiring, the conductor knew that the luggage in the cabin belonged to nobody in the bus. It became obvious that someone getting down in one of the previous destinations had accidentally or intentionally taken the other suitcase which belonged to Mr. Mahesh. Since both suitcases were looking similar, there was a bigger chance that the other person would have taken it in a hurry, thinking that it belonged to him or her. There was no name marked on the suitcase in the cabin. It was locked and no one had rights to open it. If the owner of the suitcase in the bus could be tracked somehow, Mr. Mahesh's luggage would be found with him. But how to know who took the luggage and where did he or she get down? Mr. Mahesh and his family too had travelled from Bangalore, and they were travelling to Raichur, a destination farther from Ballari. Suddenly, my mom got up to our surprise. She spoke to Mr. Mahesh and asked him not to panic. She said that she had seen similar luggage in the cabin at some point. She also had seen a person taking that red suitcase and getting down at Challakere, a small town which was 100 kilometers behind Ballari, in between Bangalore and Ballari to be precise. Challakere is my mother's birthplace and hometown. Her father and brothers lived there. She knew the place inch to inch. She knew most people of the town. She also had known the person getting down at Challakere. He was her childhood friend's brother. She had spoken to him when we got into the bus in Bangalore. He had seated 2 rows behind us and 1 row behind Mahesh's family. He had also waved goodbye to my mother before getting down at Chalkere, and my mother had seen him take the red suitcase and get down at his destination. Now it became clear where Mr. Mahesh's luggage had gone. It was tentatively in safe hands. There was a sigh of relief on Mahesh's face. Next what? My mother gave an idea to Mr. Mahesh after speaking to my dad. The plan was that my mother would accompany Mr. Mahesh and travel back 100 kilometers to Chalakere and get back the luggage which had been exchanged. The other person at Chalakere too would be worried when he would have learned that the luggage with which he had got down was not his. Mr. Mahesh agreed. Now what would Mr. Mahesh's wife and child do? The child was already crying, he was feeling hungry and sleepy. It was not wise for Mr. Mahesh's entire family to travel back to Chalkere since they had a longer journey ahead. So the next part of the plan was that Mr. Mahesh's wife would come with us and my dad to our home at Ballari and stay there until my mom and Mr. Mahesh traveled to Chalkere and got back the luggage. Even before we reached Ballari, the conductor of our bus stopped another bus which was coming opposite us. It was going from Ballari to Bangalore via Chalakere. My mom and Mr. Mahesh got into that bus, and I, my dad, my brother, Mr. Mahesh's wife and their kid continued traveling towards Ballari. Who would do this for any stranger? Especially, it takes guts and heart if you are a woman to volunteer to travel with a stranger, a man, at night time, in spite of being tired after a day-long journey of about 300 kilometers, when your body and mind are demanding rest, and when you are craving to reach home, take food and rest. Amma, you are superb. You have done so many such good deeds that I am damn proud of you. And hats off to my dad, who is another interesting character of this story. Before my mom and Mahesh came back to our home from Chalakere, Dad brought us all home. He let Mr. Mahesh's wife and child relax in one of our rooms. We had reached home by 9:30 p.m. Dad cooked rice, sambar and rasam for all of us, including my mom and Mahesh. I and my brother played with the little boy and engaged him. Which man would take such responsibility of getting an unknown woman to home and taking care of her and her child? Hats off, Appa. You two have done so many deeds of goodness, and we have learnt a lot from you and Amma. The whole incident stood on the point of trust factor, humanity and goodness. Mom and Mr. Mahesh reached home by 3 a.m. They had found their luggage. My mother could easily track down the home of the person who had taken the luggage because it was also her friend's home. They too were thrilled to get back their luggage since it contained costly ornaments and some materials which were purchased for a family wedding. My mom's friend had served Mom and Mr. Mahesh with food, ensuring that they did not travel back empty stomach. That was indeed a sign of thanks and gratitude from them. It was not the time of smartphones or mobile phones. Going back and getting the luggage was the only option. Luckily, my mother had seen and known the person who had taken Mr. Mahesh's luggage. All of us slept by 3:30 a.m. Next morning, Mom prepared breakfast for all of us. Mr. Mahesh and his wife thanked us for everything. The expressions and emotions on their face when they departed was worth seeing. Dad dropped them at the bus stand and ensured they got a bus to Raichur. I'm not sure if Mr. Mahesh or his wife would even remember this event. Maybe yes, maybe not. It has been a long, long time. Maybe they too would have narrated this story to their son, who might be pretty grown up by now and living happily with a family of his own. Maybe if they still have the thread suitcase, they would remember us whenever they see it. I can't be sure. But for our family, it is one of the fondest memories, a good story in which we were all a part of. Isn't it a cute story of extreme goodness? Hope you enjoyed it. Before ending this episode, I would love to wish my mom a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Amma. Thanks for giving us good lessons, good basics, and a lot of good stories to tell. Love you, Amma. Thanks for listening to this story. If you have liked this story, kindly share it with your near and dear ones. I'll catch up with you all in my next episode with yet another beautiful story. Bye for now.